Welcome to this webinar, Dealing with Narcissists at Christmas, with your girl, Keely Taverner. We're going to learn, understand, and heal. Welcome. I am a psychotherapist and founder of Key for Change, and I've been helping people to change for over 12 years. So what qualifies me? I have a master's in person-centered psychotherapy. I've worked in prisons as a probation officer where I delivered cognitive behavioral programs, and I often appear in the media talking about my experiences and views as an expert. I'm helping people to move on without spending years in therapy. And this hasn't just worked for me. I've had my own challenges, been in a narcissistic, abusive, one way, give you all, get back breadcrumbs in relationships too. It's what fueled my desire to turn my pain into purpose. And I really want the same for you too. So if you find yourself anxious at this time of year, it's okay. This presentation is for you because at some level, something's missing. You're confused and you're stuck. At some level, you may have been told lies, you don't have a method, and you've been going round in vicious circles. My ambition is to help you break free of one-way relationship and start setting boundaries. Because with no accountability or having generic therapy and perpetually researching, you may well become a professor of narcissism. Not great for your greatness unless that's something you deliberately want for yourself. Doing it alone is incredibly challenging. Narcissists are complex and tricky to deal with. Even with the knowledge, applying the insights can feel overwhelming, especially when you're owned and surrounded by toxic people. You see, your old researching method has cost you time, energy, and you've inadvertently got stuck. And this is the way that 2 years, 5 years, 10 years flies by. Don't do it to yourself. Everything is energy. After this session, you'll get my 3 principle. But what is fundamental is the crucial question. Then we're going to move on to acceptance and the power of making conscious, empowered choices. You see, the reality is you are dealing with a complex personality. You will not win by going toe to toe. So if you're seeking revenge, this webinar is not for you. It is not great for your greatness, and it is definitely something I will not promote. We must reclaim our energy, attention, and focus. And once you recognize a narcissist pattern, they become very predictable. An uncomfortable truth alert, just like this high heel shoe here. It's never about them. It is always, always about you. We must focus on you. But the most important question is, what is the fantasy you have in your mind's eye of how the relationship should be? We need clarity about what you want and what you are seeking. Because when you don't have that clarity, you're moving blind. You need a clear vision of how you want the relationship to be. Take a moment, maybe write down your answers. How do you want this relationship to be? What is it you want? Is it a happy family? Is it an ideal partner? What is the vision in your mind's eye? Just take a moment, even close your eyes and get an image of what it is that you seek. And because we're dealing with unnecessarily difficult people at this time of year, write down the names of people who challenge you, who make it really difficult for you to honor yourself. Who are those people? This is so important because, I ain't gonna lie, this is important. Why? Because often in the fantasies we have in our mind's eye of unicorns, lollipops, and rainbows, we have the biggest issue of all that I see in toxic relationship, which is a conflict with reality and fantasy. We have a fantasy of how we want it to be, and our reality may well not measure up. I want to encourage you to stop researching narcissism and start putting in those boundaries. And that's exactly what we do on my community in Navigate Narcissism Now. Because what you've done is not worked. You've had no accountability, that generic therapy, and that research has resulted in you becoming an unqualified professor of narcissism, not great for your greatness. And the reason so many trust me is I know exactly what you've gone through. I've been there and I have made my pain purposeful. It's baffling, confusing, draining, depressing, anxiety provoking, stress inducing, annoying, and it ultimately limits your life. You need a method and a process. And the process I promote on Navigate Narcissism Now is about acceptance, self awareness, and making conscious, empowered choices. That is what we are all about on Navigate Narcissism Now, because acceptance is so important. It brings us into the here and now. Often we're in the there and then, what happened in the past. Not great for your greatness. We look at the past to make sense, but we don't get stuck there. Being in the here and now takes us into our current reality. Another principle is about celebrating your victories, small wins. We're not looking at the big picture. We know what we want, but small wins are so fundamental. We want steady, consistent wins that help you to feel like a shift is taking place. Commitment, that commitment to self. By investing in yourself, you've already won. Even signing up for this webinar is a commitment to self. And fundamentally, self awareness is so crucial. We want to stop reacting to them, taking the bait, and to start to respond, giving ourselves the space and time we deserve. We want to observe our thoughts rather than being ruled by them. And we want to learn to accept people as they are, not as we want them to be. Now, that's the key to get us out of fantasy: acceptance as they are, not as we want them to be. Acceptance is so fundamental as it frees you. And I hear you ask, but Key, can it really be that easy? I can't do that. I've tried before, but I don't believe I really can be free. Well, my friend, that is a limiting belief. And that what takes me to the next step, which is step 2, boundaries. Boundaries fundamentally is about what you say yes and what you say no to. Often we've had poor boundaries. It's about our expectations. It's about setting down terms and conditions about what is acceptable and not acceptable to us. Knowing what boundaries are is one small step in the right direction, but it's not enough. Often because we may hope that if we put boundary in place, people might agree and concede, but that isn't always the case. Plus, with our research, we may hope that if we share or gain more knowledge, that something will change. And that may not necessarily be the case. See, that's the old way. And the new way is about putting boundaries in actions. And before we do anything, we need to get clear with ourselves first. We need to be specific and identify the people who are most challenging to us. Also, the situations that are tricky and difficult for us to navigate. Christmas is definitely one of those. Boundaries is always an inside job. We start on the inside. So it starts with the inner world first. But one of the challenges is that when you just learn about boundaries, you miss this fundamental point. Boundaries can induce guilt and fear and a worry about the backlash. I ain't lying. But the big question is, what do you expect when you put a boundary in place? Write down your answers. Just take a moment, make a note. What do you expect when you put boundaries in place? What is your expectation? Be clear. Another question. What is your greatest fear should you put a boundary in place? Just give yourself a moment. What do you fear the most? What is the worst case scenario? You feel you'll lose someone? Do you fear reprisal? Do you fear smear campaigns? What do you fear if you put a boundary in place? Someone being moody with you? Someone withdrawing from you? What is your fear? Take a moment. If you've got a notepad, write down your answers. We must also remember that boundaries need consequences. If there's no consequence, people take you for a joker. And it actually reinforces that they can continue to take you for a fool. I'm sorry, but not sorry. I'm not here to tell you lies. I'm here to be real with you and honest about the dynamics in your situation. We must get to grips with our fears. The big question for you is, do you want to be controlled and live in fear? And as you probably know already, living in fear is not a way to live a healthy, wholesome, abundant life. This is what we support each other with, our growth and transformation on Navigating Narcissism now. We're learning, understanding, and healing. And lastly, self-awareness is so fundamental to your change journey. Self-awareness is crucial. You've already got enough narc awareness. You already think you're the problem. You're already baffled by your situation, and no matter what they do, we keep on incessantly giving. Not great for your greatness. What if you're not the problem? What if you don't need to find all the solutions? What if all that research on them results in you not truly understanding you? You see, that's the old way. And the new way is to understand that self-awareness frees you, and you shift from being narcissist aware to self-aware, looking within, not outside of yourself, where you stop beating up on you and you have the audacity to begin to dream and to take steps in the direction of the activities and interests that delight you. This is what my client did before she was unaware, in a job that she hated, where her kindness was being taken for granted, where she was going above and beyond and never getting promoted. Drink became the soother. And today, left the job, created her own business, declutter my space, and is now channeling her energy into developing what I'm really delighted. We spoke recently, and she's going to be offering a franchise. So other people can now buy into her business and she makes an income. Talking abundant living here. Self-awareness empowers you to get clarity and to start making empowering choices, which is exactly what we do on Navigating Narcissism now. It frees you. Self-awareness frees you from being narc-aware to self-aware. Now, you might be thinking this sounds like it will take vast amounts of time and money, and that's not true. Remember, if you're in a one-way relationship, at some level, it's costing you a lot of money. And that brings us to step 3, making conscious, empowered choices, getting out of your comfort zone, focusing on you, and having accountability. You see, the problem is you've been stuck in a fantasy reality void. The problem is you understood boundaries, but you couldn't apply them. The other problem is you are narc-aware and not self-aware. It's time to stop researching narcissism. Start researching you. That's your only power. You're the only person you can change. And you never lose when you invest your time, money, and energy on you. You've already over-invested in everyone else. And where did it get you? Waiting, wanting, yearning. At worst, it may have left you desperate. And let's be very frank, the more desperate you could become, the more the narcissist loathes you and tightens their grip and power over you, feeding off your need for validation. It doesn't work. It actually drives us further and further down into the pit. Not great for your greatness. And we ain't got time for that. We want to manifest because you're already a master manifester. You're just manifesting at the current time. You're manifesting what you don't want, which is why your spirit is sad. It's manifesting problems, misery, and where attention goes, energy flows, and everything is energy. You've already manifested it. You remember you manifested that holiday. You made that special purchase. You managed to manifest the money for a car or a house. You made a way out of no way. That potential is always in you. That power is always in you. It's never left. But it's just been focused on the wrong thing, which resulted in you going around in vicious cycles, getting stuck, and where life is now hurting. So I hear you ask, Key, how do I fix it? Well, because you're on this webinar, I have a special offer for you. It's about helping you to get that reality check, acceptance, and self awareness. We want to take back your time, your energy, and encourage you to start making empowering choices and experiencing victories. We want to turn that pain into purpose. And this is how you fix it. Join Navigate Narcissism now. And as a webinar attendee, you can get 6 months access for £599. You get weekly group coaching with me, which is equal to a cup of coffee at £3.33 per day, and 24 access to my online media via the app. Plus, when you sign up today, you save £400. And we're going to throw in the webinars, how to manage difficult people, and a toxic mix, plus all my 3 books, Am I Dating a Narcissist? Help, I'm Dating a Narcissist, and Why Love Hurts, which is a massive saving of £481 that's only available to you. And if you want a little bit more, if you want a VIP experience with me, then for $799, you get everything I've already mentioned, plus a one-to-one hour-long session with me worth $175. You get access to my most popular online course, Feel Loved, and members' discounts to my retreats and events. All this for just $799. I don't just help people. Ultimately, I assist people to live their best life. Now, let me ask, what is holding you back from investing in you? Let your girl Key know, whether on socials, email, or ping me a text. Do take care of you, and thank you for listening to this webinar. Bye now.